Hello and welcome to New Junction. You join me today at the engine sheds on my heritage line on the layout. I think you'll agree it's rather clean. Anyone who's been to a heritage line, especially a engine shed that houses a steam engine, will know that the track is far from perfect and usually grimed up with just the rails showing. So what I'm going to attempt to do today is try and grime it up. What I'll be using is the Hattons oil spill kit. I've had a play with this already, and I think the kit itself does lend itself to hopefully make an engine shed look very used and abused. So what comes in the kit is very simple. It's literally a pack of powder. Now this just goes on your ballast, as you can see. It's very, very fine, this one. And then you get your oil spill solution. So an extremely simple kit, nice and cheap and easy, good to have a go with, which I'm about to do now. So what I'll do is I'll show you a little bit on camera and then I'll continue in a bit of a time lapse for you. The first stage is to take the powdery mix and literally coat the area that you want to do. Now don't worry if this goes everywhere, because that's what the aim is. I'm only going to do a little bit, and all you want to do is try and brush it into the nooks and crannies. And of course, when this is glued down, it will settle somewhat, so you may have to do this a couple of times. Now, as I said, I have experimented with this on my test bed of track. What I'm going to try and do is create a slight mound in the middle of the rails. I almost want the rails to disappear, particularly where the engines would sit, because that's what I'm trying to simulate, is where the ash would go from the engines themselves. There we go. As you can see, it's created a nice mound. I'm now going to continue on and fill out the rest before gluing. So as you can see, I've now done the base layer. This will settle down when it's covered in PVA glue and water, which I'll do momentarily. One tip you can use is if you just use your brush to make sure the inside of the rails is clear of any of the dust material. This will just help the running. Now the tops of the rails will be covered in the powdery stuff. However, once it's all done and dry, you will be using a track rubber to get it off, and it comes off really easily. So I'm now going to go and prepare the PVA glue mix. As always, it's 50-50 with PVA and water. So I've got my water in my Oxford lid. Just add in the PVA. There we go. And then a dab of washing up liquid just to help with disbursement. Also smells really nice too. And then that is simply mixed in. Obviously we're about to use water and the PVA glue on the rails, so it's a good opportunity to turn your layout off and make sure all the power's off until it's dried in full. So all I'm going to do now is just bead this on as normal, as though it was ballast. It does run a bit because it's very powdery. However, once dry, it will settle as normal. So I'm now going to continue this, and you'll see me when it's dried. So it's been a couple of days since the last shot. It's still drying. It's a bit damp, as you can see. It is still cold in my loft. I've also added a few bits to areas, any area where I think an engine would idle, whether it be a diesel or a steam engine. So obviously the sheds themselves are very, very full of the sort of ashy powder. And I've just put a light scattering where the engines stop in the station. You can see a bit more there as well. And then at the back end of the sheds themselves. So this was only the first step. The next step, of course, is to take the next part out of the pack and take the oil spill solution, and I'm actually going to go over all of the ground scatter I've put down so far and actually turn it black. This is the next step, and then once that's dry, I'm going to go over it with some more of the neat powder just to replicate fresh ash from the bottom of a steam engine. Hopefully this will look quite good. So the next step is to dab it on with a paintbrush. So join me after that. So there we are. For the immediate area in front of the engine shed itself, I have gone pretty much over all of the area with the oil spill stain. It is quite inky in reality, and it fills in very well into the sort of dusty ballast, as it were. Now, I have visited a couple of heritage lines recently with an eye out for doing this, and as much as I see nice layouts where oil spill is very delicate and things like that, my heritage line sheds are literally black. They've been there so long, the ground is sodden with oil and debris and ash. There's literally no let up, it's literally just one colour throughout. So for me, in trying to represent my local places, the engine sheds are one colour. However, this does look a bit too dark. So what I'm going to do now is take a coffee stirrer, and literally put a bit of PVA glue on the end of it. Just very gently dabble a couple of spots just in the middle of these arches. Nice and gently. You can probably tell what I'm going to do. And using the other end of it, I'm taking a scoopful of the powder. I'm going to try and recreate as if a steam engine's just recently let its ash box go. Now that's going to go everywhere. Hopefully you saw that on camera. Ooh, spilt that one. The idea being, once that dries, I'll hoover up the excess and put that back in the bag, and this will look like steam engines have recently been here, and the fireman or whoever has recently cleaned out the firebox in general. So I'm going to add a few more of these spots and we'll see how it looks. And there we go, we're all dry. Now also to complement the scene, I've moved up the coal and wood bunker. I've also had a play with some seafoam hedgerow, which I've covered in scatter and some knock leaves. Now I will be bringing you a video on this and how I've done it when I get better at it, simple as that. This was just having a play along with the new Hattons oil spill kit. So, who we have to thank for this video. Now, I've simply used the Hattons oil spill kit, as you know. I should say, as usual, it's not a sponsored video at all. I did have to buy that, but I think it's made the world of difference. Again, some people will say, for the sake of a bit of black paint or ink and a bit of powder, you could do it yourself, and you could do it yourself. But the joy of these kits, they're a good gift for someone, great for a beginner, great for someone like myself who just wants to have a go, bit of messy modelling. And I think that's what it's all about, having a go ultimately, and learning and hopefully improving your layout in the long run. Hopefully you'll agree with me that the engine shed lanes, if nothing else, are starting to look quite good. I might have to continue the black wash a bit further on here, but as it is there, I'm really chuffed with it actually. Again, I've probably gone a bit heavy at the engine sheds, but that's reflective of my local Heritage Line engine sheds. I have added a few oil patches where the engines would sit at the station as well, but not as heavy. So all in all, I think this is a fantastic little kit. Again, cheap and cheerful. It's worth a go, and if you're thinking about one, just stick one on your order. Nice and easy. Right, I'm going to go and have a play with my Heritage Line now, and start bringing on the next video. As ever, hopefully this has been of interest to someone. I've had fun making it. I love a bit of messy modelling. But thank you as ever for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care, guys.